Guys, I finally got my camera working. The last video got cut off, but I'm going to make this as a separate video and go into a little bit more depth about what I've been speaking about. So I talked about the body and the body being kind of like a software so that we could provide loosh for the system. So the matrix is very complex. These beings that kind of created us, or did create us, came, I think, probably started with the demiurge, with Sophia, creating the demiurge by mistake. I definitely think there's a lot of truth in that. And the great architect of the universe is the demiurge, right? So he was created without his divine mother's counterpart, and because he was created without, I guess, permission of the highest, let's just say God, he was created in ignorance, but he was still part divine, and he wanted to create his own world, and imprison these divine consciousness. So, I always looked at the matrix as a metaphor. The people in the pods being like their loosh harvested, but now I don't know. Now I'm wondering. I do kind of believe in soul pods. I actually got together with a group of people who are vibing with the same stuff that I have, and Journey Points Home. If you want to listen to our talks, my friend Brandon has a channel called Journey Points Home, and there's a lot of our stuff on there. Anne-Marie Uber, Leilita Caroli, these are all people. Tony Sayers is my friend, the mentor, and I was trained under him to do etheric implant removal and entity removal, and they're pretty much all, everybody differs a little bit in what they believe, but for the most part, these are what I call the soul trap people, who know that there's this nefarious sort of system going on that keeps us recycled and reincarnated into this world, and we keep getting recycled back here, and we think because of our attachments. So I'm not going to sit here and say that every person, when they die, realizes, oh, holy crap. Like, I remember now, they forced me to come here, and against my will, and, some of the people will be taken in by, I'll just use me as an example. You know what? Maybe I'm not going to do that. I don't want to give away, although they know probably everything anyway. But let's just say you have there was this guy. This is real. This is a true story. There was a guy who he was a real salt of the earth guy, hard work. He was like a truck driver, and he drank a lot. He ended up getting divorced, but he had this daughter who he loved more than anything in the world. Like, just adored her. And she was like his lifeline. She was what was keeping him going in life. And he ended up passing away of a heart attack. And this creep, who I'm going to call another agent of the Matrix, was an astral traveler. And he was approached by nefarious beings to help. This guy's name was Ralph, by the way. Call him Wreck-It Ralph. To get Wreck-It Ralph to reincarnate back here again, because he refused. And for whatever reason, this guy had a strong will. They could not get him to come back here. And he knew the game. Okay, Ralph knew the fucking game. So when you're in that realm, you're able to create, and he created this beautiful cabin on a lake, and would go fishing every day, and that's kind of where he stayed. Okay, the problem with doing that is they have access to you. They have access to you. And so this creep and a bunch of other people in the astral, now this was a human, Creepo was, who was working in the astral with these nefarious beings. He was able to get this guy, Ralph, to reincarnate back here. And how he did it was so fucked up. What he did was he told the guy that his daughter was now pregnant, which she was. And she was no longer with the kid's father. Now, the daughter had a drug problem, and the daughter had gotten clean from drugs, gotten pregnant, but was no longer with the father, and was all alone, and she really missed her dad. And she knew that her dad was like the only one that was always in her corner. But she was clean, okay? And she was going to have this baby and be strong and do it on her own. So, how they got this guy to go back was they told him, under false pretenses, by the way, it was a lie, that if he didn't go back and become his daughter's new baby, she was going to go back on heroin and become an addict again, and she needed him. And that was it. That's all it took. This guy was not going back. There you go. That's why I'm telling you. Listen, I brought kids into this world. You've got to let your attachments go. Because it's the way that they're going to get you to come back here. You have to let your attachments go. I'm not saying you don't love your kids. Okay, but they will use your loved ones against you to get you to... If you don't want to come back here anymore, like myself, then you got to let your attachments go now. You know, and you love them. It's whatever your attachments are here. Cats, for me, it's cats. Cats and my kids and my grandkids. But I think that, you know, my friend Brandon says that whatever is yours is going to come with you when you get out of this trap, when you get out of the soul trick, when you escape it. And whatever's the part of you, you know, meaning the consciousness of your children, whatever you created. And I'm like, wow, you know, that's pretty, if it's true, you know, that's great. I do believe that there's truth in that statement. So anyway, I digress. So I was talking in another video that I just uploaded about the body and what it is. And so these beings, the archons, which I believe could possibly also be the archangels, but the 7 archons, okay, that created this universe. Okay, we were fashioned from these beings. We were made, these bodies are made for us to suffer so that we could feed the system for loosh. And that's why people get sick and they go into hospice and they die, and it's awful. They lose their dignity. I take care of the elderly, as I mentioned before. It's not a good thing. And I think that even our bodies were created for nefarious purposes, and I also believe that the soul is part of the matrix. I've said this before. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it's consciousness that's important. Anyway, this guy that was forced to come back here, what happens? Well, they get mind wiped. You get mind wiped. So how do you learn anything if you get mind wiped? See, these are the questions that I ask people who like to come at me. If I'm in kindergarten and I'm going to first grade, I don't want to get my mind erased after kindergarten because I need all that knowledge to take with me to the first grade. Okay, that's a simple example of the soul trap. There you go. Why do I need my mind wiped? Oh, so you can learn your lessons. Well, how the f am I learning my lessons if I'm mind wiped? How can you learn if you don't remember anything? I know that there's growth in pain. I've made videos about it when I was involved with a serious, complete psychopath, narcissist, psychopathic narcissist. Absolutely insane person. Okay, I've talked about this, and yes, I did. I learned a lot from that relationship. I grew, but I also believe that that relationship was put in place to throw me off my game. They probably got more loosh from me during that time, right? Do you think that the fact that I was 18 years old and pregnant, and my significant other was murdered, brutally murdered, and dumped, do you think that that's not to get copious amounts of loosh out of me? Because it was. And also, I talked about the day you were born. You're all pre-programmed before you get here. Okay, everything is in the program. You got to go against the program. You got to stay neutral. Don't give them any kind of emotion, good or bad. Just chill back and be neutral. And that's how they don't use you for the system. So I think that these gods, if you call them, the Nephilim, the supposed fallen angels, there's truth in all of those stories, okay? The Anunnaki, I believe, are the Nephilim. I absolutely do. I don't know if you guys just saw that light in the back of my basement, that blue light that just lit up in the back of my basement. I'm not sure why that happened, but I can guess. And, they're going to wave another shiny object in front of you. This is what it was like being in a narcissistic relationship. He would wave the shiny object over here to distract me from what he was doing. Right? And he would always point it back at me. Now, if someone is manipulating you, they're going to gaslight you and divert your attention. And that's what this system does. It's constantly waving another shiny object for you to focus on. And you could argue and say, well, you're focused on this, and so that's another shiny object. But, I think this is still important information. And then if you don't want to come back here, you don't have to. And certainly if you do, go right ahead. I'm done with this place. Okay, I don't want to come back here. I said it, I think, from the time I was a little girl. It's like I just knew. Because I was probably forced into a body against my will. And so once you go into the light, it's a little bit more difficult to avoid this little trick that they got going, this little game they got going to send you back here. So my advice is don't go in that light. I do believe that this is why I see a lot of old people that I take care of that have dementia from getting shots and whatever else. I think that they do that because then once you're confused, when you die, you may not remember. Don't go to the light, I'm being called dangerous for promoting this information. Dude, the light is one big giant trap. It's one big trick. And, your consciousness is beautiful and perfect, and it doesn't belong here. Okay? Don't give them anything, which is why I say stay neutral. There's nothing wrong with staying neutral. Stay out of fear. And it's okay, live your life. Live your best life. Do what you enjoy. I'm not saying you shouldn't, go live at the beach. Go move to Mexico. Go whatever it is. I'm not saying I'm not making moves. I'm making moves. Okay? And, they keep us on the hamster wheel. They keep us working constantly. Again, we're not supposed to live like this. This isn't normal. Life is not supposed to be hard. It's not supposed to be filled with suffering, with children getting raped and tortured. But don't get distracted with the shiny object. If you know what this place is, you won't get distracted anymore. You won't be distracted by that. This is not where we're supposed to be. This is not where our consciousness, we are imprisoned here. Our consciousness is imprisoned here. This body is just jail. Jail and suffering. Again, do whatever you need to do to keep it healthy, right? Do whatever you need to do. I'm not saying whatever floats your boat, that in your healing journey. Do I think we need to deal with trauma? Absolutely. Absolutely. But you can do that just by taking a hard look at yourself. Do I think that it's okay to see people that can remove entities from us? 100%. Again, do everything you have to do to keep yourself right in this reality. And what works for one person is not going to work for another. We're all pre-programmed to be what we are. Okay? And then, while I'm on that topic, I think what we think are synchronicities, like, oh, it's a synchronicity, now I got to go down this road, is just all part of our programming. That's part of what we're set. Unfortunately, there's like people who are actually not even bad, like not even a bad, because there's different types of consciousness, right? There's some evil beings, I call them the aliens here, right? But there's some that aren't even, that bad, and then suddenly they're like programmed to like be a rapist. There was, I know my friend Lolita talked about it. There was a guy who realized what I'm talking about and realized that he was pre-programmed to be a rapist, and he went completely no sex of any kind, and that's how you beat them at this game. Okay, that's just a hardcore example, but there's things in this place that they know you. They know your thoughts, your dreams. They control your thoughts at every minute and every second of every day. Every day. Okay? There's no such thing as, there's you're in there too. And that's the thing you have to bring to the surface. The pure consciousness, right? That pure light. That's you. They hate us. They're jealous of us. They, and that's why we've been enslaved and entrapped, because we're emotional. We're, emotional beings, and they need that emotion to power the matrix. So we definitely are in a simulation. I do believe that. And I also believe that they take our consciousness and split it and put it in different realities, because they have that ability. Mostly it's just technology. Okay? They're big into AI and tech at the highest level that you can even imagine. You know, this whole thing is one giant video game that you're in. And I just really hope that all of you get something out of this. I didn't really go into this with much thought. I just wanted to express everything that I've learned over the past couple years that I believe is much more important than, but it's all a journey, right? So the Decode Your Reality guy, I think you guys should definitely give him a listen. He definitely has a lot of good information. And I think if you just watch some of his stuff, you'll know what I'm talking about. Anyway, peace out, guys.